Have you ever wondered what happens to our consciousness after we die? How many lives do we get to live, and what dictates this process? How much do we really know about reincarnation? Well, I do know that dreams are a great way to tap into your past lives and learn more about how far your soul has come. Reincarnation is a key belief in Hinduism, Buddhism, and many other belief systems around the world, so this is not a new concept. I hope you all enjoy this episode and find it as fascinating as we have. So the cool thing that I want to share with you guys, that there's so much scientific evidence-based research. If you're into science and you need that confirmation, there's so much scientific evidence behind reincarnation and remembering your past lives. Like specifically in really young children that have like vivid dreams and nightmares of their past lives, of certain situations. And it's just very specific details that they remember that a 2-year-old would not know. And they're confirmed cases where they find names, ships, plane names or whatever of actual events that occurred during the war or whatever era that the past life was in. And your dreams are just a really good connection to that. So that's why it's a huge topic on the dream world. I have a whole podcast episode just about this topic and the scientific evidence behind it. So if you're interested in this topic, you should definitely check that out because it goes into details about all the evidence. But your dreams are such a connection to your past lives because we can find out who we were. We can intentionally create that space, re-experience that, tap in, and also tap into other energies and spirit guides that we have had from past lives. It's something that just fascinates me so much. Martin has a lot of personal experience with his past life regression, and there are people that specialize in past life regression. If anybody in here knows about that, I would love to hear about it. But for me, I just know, based on literally research and scientific evidence, like there's literally physical evidence of people who have birthmarks in this life and how that relates to how they died in their past lives, and our fears and stuff and our nightmares, show us like that energy carries over across all of our lifetimes, our memories and our traumas. So our subconscious stores that. So it's something that we can access with intentional dream work practice. I guess I'll ask Martin, what kind of stuff do you do to specifically try to figure that out for somebody who doesn't already know what their past lives were?
Well, the simplest way is to incubate a dream where you incubate the intention to be shown what you were in your past lives. That's easier than lucid dreaming, whereas in a lucid dream, you can also have a dream plan to explore your past lives as soon as the lucid dream happens. For me, my past life memories were spontaneous. When I was a young child, I remember a recurring dream where there was a temple and I go into the temple and then the temple collapses. And then that happened over and over. They were sort of OBEs or out-of-body experience dreams. And then later on, I explored those same dreams with lucidity, revisiting them.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think, me personally, when I grew up, when I was a child, I had certain dreams that I specifically remember of my past lives that I've dug deeper into. But I never knew that as a child. I never knew that growing up because I didn't really grow up in an environment where we really talked about dreams or it was something important. I don't know if you did or not, Martin, but I didn't notice until my adult life, really, that I started to look into this stuff.
Yeah, and you notice over life you have a few other dreams that are of the same texture as the past life memories. And these are different to regular dreams. You can tell the difference just by the texture of the dreams.
I like that term, texture of the dreams. That sounds cool. It makes sense.
Yes. So the dreams are definitely, as he just said, ways to do it. And then there's, of course, past life regressions and meditations. There's also, past life regressions that you can get professionally as a form of therapy or just as a form of regression if you search your area for practitioners. And then, of course, there's the dreaming method, which we're discussing today. So all these things are wonderful. Just want to say thank you.
Hello, thank you for having me. Lovely to be here. I'm actually a past life regression hypnotherapist. That's my full-time job. I've been doing it for quite a while. So hence why I'm in this room. Past life regressions, something I do on a daily basis. So lovely to be here with other like-minded individuals.
That's awesome. So I guess this is perfectly on topic because can you tell us a little bit about what you do, what that process is like? Like if I told you I have no idea about my past lives, what do I do? How can I figure it out?
Well, as probably as you've discussed, there's lots of different ways that you can learn about your past lives. It could be through dream work. It could be through hypnosis, which is what I do. Lots of different methods. Hypnosis is obviously kind of my speciality, so that's kind of where my knowledge is based. So it's very interesting hearing you guys talking about lucid dreaming and things like that. The hypnosis I use is specifically called regression hypnosis. So it's very kind of similar to a guided meditation, but it's accessing the deepest parts of your subconscious mind where all our knowledge and information is stored. And I'm kind of basically like a guide to help access that information. And as you probably all well know, the brain often likes to give clues. And I often refer to the brain a bit like an onion. It likes to reveal a layer at a time, depending on each individual and maybe how ready and prepared they are to receive the information. So it's obviously different for everybody, and we all have hundreds of past lives that we can explore. Some people are able to access the information a lot easier than others, like some people are able to lucid dream, easier than others. Yeah, absolutely amazing, and I love it. But with the hypnosis, most people think of hypnosis and they think of conversational or covert hypnosis, and that's what you see on the telly, all of that, snap and you're under, all of that jazz. That's not what I do. What I do is regression hypnosis, so you remember everything from start to finish, much like you would a guided meditation, apart from we just kind of go a little bit deeper, and I do it on a one-to-one basis, because like I say, everyone's different, so you need to use the information that's given as a guide to be able to decipher which direction we're going, what we're exploring, and I absolutely love it. So, and thank you for having me. Great chat.
Super cool. Thanks, Laura.
Yeah, I've done past life regression. Yeah, I worked with many of my lucid dreams and dreams from early childhood as a basis for the regression session. It was very rewarding.
Yeah, I find it very interesting because with some clients, they may come and they find that they're blocked for some reason, a multitude of reasons. It could be, trauma in this present day life that they need to identify and deal with before their brain will allow them to experience other memories or potential trauma or things like that. Also things like chakras, your chakras being out of balance, distorted, blocked, that can also have a huge impact. So it's very interesting with each individual client, to see what's going on, but also what it is their subconscious wants to show them, because, it's going to show them whatever's relevant to them at this present day, what they need to know, what they need to see, what they kind of need to remember. And I find it's amazing. And I learn as much from my clients, in each of their sessions about, what they did. And I document everything as well. I don't know if you guys do, because I do think one time maybe I'm going to come across somebody who had a past life with a client of mine in another past life, It's, I love it. It's great.
Yeah, when it comes to the past life regression, there's a great deal, and it is a subject which is dealing with the multi-dimensions of our existence. I'm a behavioral medicine practitioner from India. We people in India, we have a belief system about past life and incarnations, reincarnations, and the purpose of reincarnations. So we define it according to the Vedas and our ancient books. And there's a greater deal of understanding which is defined how this kinds of incarnation happens and what is the purpose of taking incarnation. There are many stories also in ancient books available in India. And when we go through these subjects, there are certain areas which is still gray areas, which is not addressed in a proper way. One thing that if suppose we have incarnations and a chain of incarnations and series of incarnations, what could have been the first incarnation? And what is the reason for a second incarnation? And what is the ordinal status of the present incarnation? Will there be a next incarnation? These are the subject matters to be addressed. First thing. Second thing, the human faculty orientation, the mind, body, and the soul. Mental faculty orientations, psychological abilities. Spiritual faculty orientation, spiritual abilities. And the physical faculty orientation that we are edifying with the proper nutrition and diet and sleep. So we are edifying our body with exercise and all. So when it comes to the spiritual faculty orientation, there are certain things which has to be addressed. First thing, the purity of the human body when the copulation practice happens. When a parent, a father and mother, try to have a baby, they must have certain purity in their mind, body and soul, because they are going to have a child which is a replica of a divine behavior, or a child who is an image of God. A human being is an image of God. In that concept, we must have certain purity in order to have a child with a certain optimum level of spectrum of understanding, and with a certain optimum level of faculty orientation in the spiritual dimensions, that he or she must have certain understanding which enables him to see the past life and the future. That is what we call Trigala Jnana, means knowledge about the past, present and future. That is a faculty orientation in our soul. Some people see visions about what is going to happen in the future. Some people see the visions of the past. Some people see clairaudient. That is a faculty orientation of our spiritual body. It is connected with the galactic consciousness. So what I am saying, the time of creation should be pure. And the practice of the creation should be pure. There should not be any imbalances or any kind of negative environment should not be there. Second thing, this spiritual body was existing somewhere in this universe or in this earth. At that time, if we were in the earth, the previous incarnation, there were transgressions, there were sins, there were, certain kind of influences that actually affected our spiritual body, some imbalances. Those imbalances should be rectified with the prayers and supplications and, harmony. Like that, we have to submit and pray. This is a framework and a background environment. We have to pray that if my body, if my incarnation in the past, or my parents, whoever in the past, had some kind of sin or transgressions, that should be cleansed and that should be leveled, and we are praying those human beings, spiritual beings affected through the transgressions and sins, they should actually get the blessings channeled through me in this incarnation, because we are all here, we were all there. In some way we are manifesting here. So the distribution of the life force should be in equilibrium, and the blessing should also be reciprocating in such a way that not as the transgression that harm our spiritual body, but as the blessings that edifies our spiritual body. This is a background environment. And this should actually be practiced for 7 incarnations and 7 incarnations of our parents too. So multi-dimensional cleansing process should happen. This is what generally we people follow in India. Thank you for the time and patience.
Thank you so much for sharing all of this. And it's really awesome how we, over so many lifetimes, just come back to learn these lessons with the same people. There's so many levels to it.
Many lives, many masters. Brian Weiss has written this book. Many lives and many masters, right?
Thank you. Yeah, that's a really great book. I'm going to put it in the chat for everybody. And also, guess what? I'm now a Dream Ambassador for this new podcast sponsor, Dreamosophy. And I'll be working on their platform to teach, heal, and interact with dreamers. This is an awesome community. I'll add the details in the show notes. I've been super active on their app, answering questions, doing challenges to help people learn how to transform their relationship with their dreams. So if you love the Dream World podcast and you want to support me and my show and my growth, please register for your first week on Dreamosophy. It is totally free and totally worth it. Trust me, when you have the right community holding you accountable to do your dream work, it's so much better. Casey, what's up? You're on stage. How's it going?
Hey, it's going well. I've done some of the similar things as you guys, like past life regression, tried some different stuff. But I also try to do it with a little bit of reservation too, and knowing what my intentions are behind it. Because I have had some friends that have learned a little too much about their past lives, and it had negative effects on them in this life. So I think there's sometimes reasons why we forget certain things, because it doesn't help us move forward into the future. So I always try to just keep in mind, why do I want to learn something, or what do I want to gain from it? If I learn something that maybe is traumatizing or unhelpful, or how am I then going to let go of it and move forward? To give you an example, I learned that my dad had killed me in a past life, and witnessing him killing me was very, very traumatizing. So it kind of made some things difficult here. So I had to, kind of work through that as well. So I just say, definitely explore, definitely have fun, but also try to, make sure that you're in a good headspace and that you're doing things with a good intention so that you don't have any negative effects from it too.
Wow, I'm so glad you said that because you're so right. Like, we forget for a reason, and we're supposed to get little hints and things and clues to help us understand that it's bigger than just this incarnation, but we can't carry all of that baggage with us through every lifetime. And another reason is that we have to give this lifetime a fresh, honest start. We're supposed to take it seriously, and we can't have, the knowledge and the trauma and a lot of that emotional stuff that we had in our past lives. We learn the same lessons in different ways in this life, but we have to start from zero. And another really good book that I'm thinking as I'm referencing this, if anybody is interested, it's called The Journey of Souls. It's actually a book from like the 70s.
We'll be right back.
Are you interested in yoga, meditation, and reading spiritual self-help books? Do you admire spiritual teachers such as Oprah, Gabrielle Bernstein, or Eckhart Tolle? Now let me ask you, do you find yourself contemplating life's biggest, most mysterious questions? Me too, which is why I started the Cultivating Spiritual Curiosity podcast. On this show, I talk with spiritual leaders about everything: yoga, mental health, therapy, intuition, spirit guides, law of attraction, mediumship, and so much more. Click the links below to join our eye-opening conversations.
Yeah, that's very true, Casey. I remember mostly my deaths most clearly from my past lives. And one, I was drowning in a waterfall. The other, I was in a temple that was collapsing. And the other, I was in the body of a chicken that was being slaughtered. So I remember a couple. And then another one, I remember my tomb. It was Egyptian sarcophaguses, which was really cool. And then I changed into Anubis in another dream, which is like Guide of the Dead. So under past life regression hypnosis, I also saw the underworld of Hades, and Mercury being the guide of Hades. And there's a fountain in Hades that makes you remember if you drink from the fountain. That was used in the Eleusinian, Orphic, and Dionysian mysteries in the ancient world, where many people like Plato and Socrates remember a number of past lives. And that set up the Western tradition of reincarnation or transmigration of the soul.
Hello, I'm Inea. I'm from India. In Hindu scripture, they call if you do wrong things attached to many materialistic things, then your soul, the energy, will not leave this materialistic world. Then the concept of rebirth come like this. And also they said if you find any way to detach yourself with these materialistic things, you will get the mukti, like liberation. Then the soul will free from this cycle of life and death. I do not know it's true or false.
Honestly, when it comes to past lives and reincarnation, it's a fact to me. Like, it's just a fact. I mean, because there's so much evidence and research behind the signs of reincarnation and all the belief systems for centuries that have talked about it. Like you guys are saying, like, there's so much truth there. And I don't think it's about right or wrong. Like you said, you believe what you believe and you tap into yourself. And I think it's actually interesting that you mentioned about the detachment and the purpose overall being, or one of the purposes maybe, being to free yourself from any material detachments. And that includes to people as well. I was literally reading about this today, so it's just interesting. But that includes to people, things, money, all the material things. Unhealthy attachments to people can carry over the same lessons over lifetimes. So I think that's part of why we're here, is to enjoy being human, but also to understand that your body is not, you are more than that. Like, you are more than your physical body. So it's really fascinating. And I don't know if it's even possible to fully detach yourself as a human being.
We are not the mind and body. We are something else. Like, we have to see these two things from distance. Then we can see those truths.
Yeah, definitely detaching is key. And to reach liberation, I actually trained in lucid dreaming in Buddhist temple, and then dream yoga is used as a way to become lucid in our dreams and be more compassionate and awake in this life. Yet it's also a method for death yoga, where the lucid dream practice translates to the moment of death, where we realize that we're dead when we're dead, and then we choose our next incarnation or to reach nirvana or moksha through the practice. Yoga Milam. It's a practice of lucid dreaming. Different practices of lucid dreaming. When we're in the lucid dream, we take away fear of all objects as one of the stages, and then we learn to become big and small in the lucid dream, so we're not bound to one physical body. And then we connect with Dakinis and the Buddha in another stage. So that was the practice within Buddhism. Yet I'm aware that Buddha is also considered to be an avatar of Vishnu.
Yes, there is nine avatar of Vishnu.
It's interesting that the Eastern methods of identifying reincarnated lamas are similar to the Western methods when they find a child with past life memories. They show the child different photographs and they'll select the correct photographs from a random selection of details about their past lives, where in the East they show like prayer beads and like bowls and cloth, and they'll select from a random selection of the right ones that they used in their past lives. So it's just interesting that these methods working with the youth is very similar.
Yeah, it's super fascinating, honestly. And I also learned a while ago that when part of the process of like the Dalai Lama finding the next Dalai Lama, like before he actually dies in this incarnation, he gives hints on where he's going to be reincarnated next, down to like the town or the general region as well. And they also have, like you said, certain like tools or something that they identify in their next incarnation.
The current time that we are living here in this earth, the current time is actually a diabolic evil time, where we call it is Kali Yuga. Kali means darkness. Yuga means a particular set of time, which has a number, the duration of years. So this is a diabolic evil time where we can see what is happening in this earth in this time. What are the catastrophes, what are the damages, what are the disequilibrium happening in human mind and in the society too. Everyone is diseased, everyone is defiled and contaminated. So in a contaminated social system, in a contaminated and defiled spiritual system, in a perverted society, we are trying to find some meanings, and we are trying to regularize and harmonize human life with the past life regression. So the basic environment, how it is getting contaminated, and what is the causative factor for getting it contaminated. Why human lives and the human souls are getting defiled. Who is the causative factor, or what are the environment, the spiritual environment are behind making it defiled. These are the two things we should address. Then we will get the answer how this, the flow of the soul happening with the vibrations of positivity and negativity in every incarnation. How the transgressions and the sinful events are happening in those lives, and what are the causative factors behind those disequilibrium causing certain damages in the spiritual body. So the background environment is very much important to, address. We must have a clear vision about that areas. What are the evil impacts? What are the, spiritual impacts which happened in the spiritual body? Otherwise, the person's behavior will also be impacted or, influenced by the evil nature, by the diabolic nature. When though he is or she is polished, educated, ultimately the person will manifest in a different way. He will be disastrous or she will be disastrous. In our mythology, we say Rajo Guna, Tamo Guna and Sattva Guna. And we say it is Rajo Guna. It's a mixture of Tamo Guna and Sattva Guna. Sattva Guna is a light, a pure, true behavior or the pure behavior, the elite behavior. Rajo Guna means it's not good, not bad, in between. It's a combination of bad behavior and good behavior. Tamo Guna means it's dark behaviors, negative behaviors. So we human beings belongs to these categories. And how we belongs to these categories according to the quality of our soul, according to the spiritual DNA, the constituent factors of the spiritual DNA, which is traveling through, years and years maybe centuries and maybe more than that. From the very beginning of the creation, we are traveling. And there is a purpose of this travel. And when it started, there is a point of starting. And it will end with a spiritual edification. This spiritual evolutionary process will end. At that point of time, we will have the spiritual body, multi-layered spiritual body, having been edified in all these incarnations with all these understandings. And at that point of time, we will have our memory because of the edification and, the travel that we are traveling all those times with all these roles. Some roles of the father, some roles of the mothers, siblings. We are taking various roles in our life. We are doing various things in our life and we are getting edified. And wherever there is a transgression or any kind of lapses or any kind of, mechanism which makes us further more edification, again we will have to travel in another incarnation or in the same incarnation to get edified, leveled in that particular area where we require perfect edifications. So the imbalances causes further travel. This is a way of divergencies where we require convergency. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to share. I love this conversation. And I've had past life regression session. I have a rare disease called NMO. And I was kind of suffering through this, it's an autoimmune disease, blah, blah, blah. So then I did this and I had it under control. It was in remission, blah, blah, blah. I had this session, past life regression. The next day, I have literally when I left the session, I started experiencing my disease again. As soon as I left the session, I'm in attack mode. My body's in an attack mode, literally, where I had to, the next day I had to go to the hospital, blah, 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 blah. And I have to say that I must have tapped into the disease. Somehow it stimulated that part where I brought it forth again. But not to say that it absolutely is a correlation, but I was already experiencing that. But my point is with the past life regression is that we're always experiencing some sort of past life regression or the things that we're trying to work out, whether or not we know it consciously in this life, but this is what we're doing. We're working our stuff out. And if we take the opportunity to say this person is really getting on my nerves and how dare he, what am I looking at? They did this to me and I'm victimizing myself in a way. And what I've learned is to look and say, this situation, what is this situation showing me? Was this my behavior in the past so I know how it feels to be in this situation of not power? At one time, in the past life, I had that power. So we have the balance of knowledge or experience. So then I am able to look at the situation like, I love you and I thank you for showing me who I was. And now I can forgive myself and you. I can forgive you for showing me the inside of me or the energetic space that I'm holding, the guilt that I'm holding from my past life for misbehaving in that way. And I could totally take responsibility and forgive myself and forgive you. And actually thank you for showing me what I need to let go of and heal with love. I don't feel that this is an evil time. I feel like it's a polarity time and it's a time to reset and reevaluate and heal with the knowledge of love. I think the veiling is getting thin where we can see, and it's an opportunity for us to choose. This is a world of choice. And then I think we all go back to love, which is absolute love. And then when we return to kind of like not a reset or redo, but let me do it again. Let me have this other contrast. We need the contrast to kind of build the muscle. I take it all as information. My process is to not attach myself emotionally to what is going on, what I see, but just see it as information and an opportunity to, again, love love more. If I see war, it's like, it's my opportunity to love more. So that's just my theory and my explanation. And I love this conversation. And thank you for this room to have this kind of dialogue. I find it fascinating and interesting. And again, I always feel like our past lives is always showing up during the day.
And also during the nights.
Yes. That's the other part was the lucid dreams that I've had out of body flying experiences. An amazing experience. I've only had it one time where I was lifted out of my body and I could see myself laying there and I was flying over my body. It was the most beautiful, loving. I've never felt so much love. And then I remember zapping down back into my body and then waking up.
Yeah, like in Buddhism, there are 3 classes of dreams that they consider: karma dreams, clear light dreams, and non-dual dreams. So a lot of karma dreams are said to be made up of past life content. So it's also during our waking life, the same karma from past lives plays through into our current lives, and then in our dreams, the same is true. There's a lot of memories that come through like that, just in regular dreams. Yet when we're lucid, we can actually heal the trauma and we can explore more of the nature of the past lives.
We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Ross, the host of Smells Like Humans, a show about interesting and quirky human behavior. We bring humor, empathy, and warmth to topics such as relationships, dating, work, self-compassion, weddings, phobias, aging parents, travel mishaps, death, and many more. Ever wonder what happens at a cuddle party? We talk about it. Free-range kids in restaurants? We've got some thoughts. Bedtime stories for adults? We're on it. Light, fun, unscripted conversation and personal stories. Please join us by clicking the link in the show notes.
Yes, that's what's completely fascinating. But my question to you is, how is it a practice to create that kind of lucid dream aspect? And is it something that can be taught?
Yes.
Because like I said, I've had that one experience and I want it again.
Okay, this is my time to shine. Yes, it is 100% a learnable skill. You are a natural lucid dreamer. We all are. And honestly, you're in the right place because most of our topics here are lucid dream related. And we show people how to lucid dream, and really, yes, it's a practice. I mean, just like anything else, like going to the gym, yoga, whatever you do, it's a practice. It's definitely learnable, so you can do it already. The first step is to start a dream journal if you haven't already. Like, record all your dreams, because it's an overall practice of just increasing your dream awareness. And the whole goal is to realize that you are dreaming while dreaming. So in order to do that, you have to remember the dream and you have to build that dream recall. So the dream journal helps you do that, and the dream journal helps you identify your dream signs, right? And so you have your dream signs. Let's say you dream about this person or a certain place a lot. Every time you see those places or that person or that dream sign, that object, whatever it is, you do a little reality check and you have a mindful moment of, am I dreaming right now? Like if I were to ask you, am I dreaming right now? You would say no, because you feel like you're not dreaming, but how do you really know? Because you feel that way in your dream, right? So they have this technique of reality checks where you just pinch yourself, or I like to pull my fingers. Some people, you can really do anything. You test your environment to see what happens. You can do mental reality checks, like how did I get here? Because in a dream, something weird will happen. Like when I pull my finger in my dream, it stretches like rubber. And that's my go-to reality check. And then I instantly know I'm dreaming. I just did it right now and my finger didn't stretch, right? So I'm not dreaming. I mindfully did that practice. I didn't just pinch myself and keep it pushing. I actually mindfully thought process, am I dreaming right now? And the whole goal is that carries over it when you're dreaming. So next time you're having a dream, when you get into this process over the course of weeks, months, years, your whole life, eventually, but usually pretty quickly, especially if you're already in tune with your dreams and your spiritual side, it really won't take that long. Eventually you'll be in your dream, you'll do your reality check, and you'll be like, holy crap, I'm dreaming right now. And the key in that moment is to stay calm, remember that you worked for this, and just take it all in, and then you slowly start practicing doing different things like we talk about, whether you want to do past life, whether you want to heal, whether you want to go see somebody or talk to somebody or go see Egypt, whatever. We have these rooms every week, and the whole idea is to build your own dream work practice, so you really find what works for you. Like, there's different techniques you can find online, like mnemonic induction, where you say mantras as you fall asleep, and you tell yourself, it's basically programming your subconscious mind to remember that you're dreaming as you fall asleep. You can also do like awake induce, whereas you like cross over, keep your mind awake as your body falls asleep. Some people say that's a little bit more difficult, but really that's the point, is you find what works for you. The reality checks is a big thing, the dream journaling, and so many different things. I mean, the more you get into it and the more we all talk about it together in these rooms, you'll really start to eventually get more lucid, and it'll just be awesome. It's pretty much conversations like this that go deeper into lucid dreaming. That's like our specialty, but I like to have rooms of different topics because I'm always learning, and we're always learning together. So,
what was that movie with DiCaprio? And remember he had that little top, and he would have to spin it to know if he was in reality or not. Or if
Inception.
Inception.
I love that movie.
Oh yeah, and there's so
Yes.
many good movies. If you check out my website, go to the blog. I have like a movies and books list of, so many good suggestions too of like dream related stuff.
I have a question to Amina. Can we do lucid dreaming for know ourselves? Like, so can someone get enlightened by lucid dreaming or not?
Martin might know better than me. I think you can. I mean, it's part of the whole process is that lucid dreaming makes you more enlightened. It makes you higher consciousness. It makes you understand yourself past your physical body, right? So it's not that one specific thing yes, this is the one thing that can get you enlightenment, But it's like, yes, it's definitely beneficial for your mental health, your spiritual health, and your physical health. Like, there's so many things you can use lucid dreaming for, that it's really underrated.
In this world, I mean, the dream world makes us recognize the illusory nature of this world. So this world becomes less real in certain ways because the illusion is so strong in a lucid dream. So it really makes us question the nature of this reality.
And also, when you say this world is real and the dream world is not, like Martin was saying, it's really an illusion. Like, because when you're lucid in a dream, it's just as real to you. Wherever your consciousness is, that's where your reality is. When I'm in my dream, if this was a dream right now and I was speaking to you in my dream, I would be fully lucid and my consciousness would be just as conscious as I am right now. So it's just as real to me, but you still learn the difference. And your dream, even though it's a different version of our reality, it's not physical, we learn things that can help us in our whole reality. We learn things beyond what we know, so we can heal ourselves and just grow as human beings, which seems like one step closer to enlightenment. But I think and people who have a lot of lucid dreams just understand the feeling of it feels more real than real life, to be honest.
Yeah, like it's also in Yoga Milam, it's one of the 6 yogas of Naropa, which are used as a path to nirvana or moksha. So, I mean, in that way, it's a direct practice that's linked to the process of enlightenment and stopping the cycle of rebirth. In the later stages of dream yoga, you connect with deities. I've connected with Shiva and Brahma and others. My next dream plan is connect with Vishnu. Yeah, in Buddhism, you also connect with Buddha or Dakinis. So depending on the belief system, you connect with a higher power when you become super lucid. And then in this way, that trains us to transcend at the moment of death and not to return and reincarnate again.
Martin, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva are the threefold manifestation of a same reality. The equation of the energy which is in this universe is manifested in three dimensions. First is as the creation, which is known as Brahma, and Vishnu is another equation of energy which is manifested as the sustaining or the life force which is sustaining, make it sustainable. And the same life force which is sustaining is recycled by the destruction force, which is another equation which is manifested in this in this galaxy, in this group of galaxies. this total universe. So that is Shiva, known as Shiva. So the equations are manifested in different ways, mathematically speaking. And there is no particular deity. There is no particular kind of, personification for this. For the common man, for their understanding, it is personified in drawings and in sculptures. And for those people, those who are yogic, science followers, they consider it as equations of the energy and the distribution according to its nature. Nature of destruction is different. Nature of creation is different. The equations and manifestation is different. In order to conceive the idea of the totality or the magnitude of the totality of a universe which has no boundaries, it requires a certain spectrum of consciousness. And this spectrum of consciousness that will enable you to understand the magnitude of the creation which is still happening. And there is a certain percept of the time and space which we are conceiving in a three-dimensional reality in this earth. And we have another dimension of the time. So we are three-dimensional beings with a four-dimensional understanding. So we are living and we are getting aged and we die. And again we take the incarnations. So we are going through the space and time reality. For the Brahman, just think and imagine. He created the entire universe and the time, the space and time, all together. But we are able to perceive certain fragments of these moments at the present time. The very next moment, we are seeing that very next moment. And we are not able to see the past. We are running through the continuum of presence and the continuum of present. And we are present and we are experiencing presence. And common beings are not able to experience the future because the consciousness is not exactly resonating or synchronizing with the consciousness of the Brahma equations. Because Brahma sees everything, past, present and future, is known as Trikala Jnanam, or the knowledge of past, present and future. You know that. So the spectrum of the consciousness should be synchronizing with the equations of this galaxy which has no boundary, or the equations of the energy which is manifested in this galaxy as Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. When you are reciprocating with that kind of a consciousness, you will be able to understand all these kinds of frameworks. With a limited understanding about three-dimensional reality, which is a present reality or a earthly reality, with a brain which is acquainted with abomination and low quality understanding about the totality and the limited neural network frames which is enabling us to think in a limited way. With that kind of brain, with that kind of limited cognitive abilities, it is very hard to conceive the total idea. Sometimes there is a chance of getting hallucinative, things when we say about dreaming or visions. Sometimes there will be, exactly opposite will happen when these kinds of suggestions, fabrications. The mind will give some kind of fabrications with the traumas. So that is one kind of a pitfall that happens in the past life regression. Either the person who is guiding should be able to see the things which is in the past. It should not be the fragments. It should not be segments. But he or she should be able to see what exactly making these kinds of energy lines, the total, the integrity. The person should be able to see the total integrity of the person who is undergoing this regression. It is not always the regression happens, but also the construction of a spiritual body happens. Not just leveling, but reinforcing, construction. That is what's important.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm so thankful for everybody that came through here and even everybody that's going to be listening back. So I'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye. Bye, Martin.
Wish you lucid dreams.
Plenty.